below the monuments and effigies, beneath the footfall of generations, beneath the medieval stained glass, beneath hollowed ground, the Doomstone. Carved in the late 12th century, over 800 years ago, this fragment is all that remains of a far larger vision. No name survives for the man who carved it, and there's no record that tells us exactly where it once stood. Much of what it once showed has long been lost. But enough remains to understand its purpose. This was not a decoration, nor was it an object of quiet reflection. This stone was a warning. The stone would have once formed part of a great tympanum, set above a doorway, placed where every soul entering the church would be forced to confront it. You would not pass beneath this rock unnoticed. You would pass beneath judgment, because the scene it carried was unmistakable to the medieval world. The Last Judgement. The moment when the dead would rise, when the graves would give up their bodies, and Christ would sit in judgment over all of mankind, the saved and the damned, heaven or hell. It was never meant to be seen as it is now. When it was first carved, the stone would have been alive with colours, rich reds, ochres and pigments applied to it, so that every figure could be read, even in dim candlelight. It must have been quite an intimidating and scary sight to those people. There was no ambiguity or escaping its meaning. This is what awaited you, and for those who passed beneath it, this was not distant belief, nor abstract theology. You would be standing at God's side, or down into the pits of hell to burn forever. To understand the stone, we have to understand the world that created it. Medieval England wasn't a place where faith sat quietly in the background. It shaped everything: how people lived, how they thought, and how they faced the end of their lives, and ultimately, their death. From birth to burial, life moved within the structure of the church. The year was marked by it, the days ordered by it, and the fate of every soul was believed to rest in its hands. This wasn't belief as we might recognise it today. It wasn't distant or something that you could set aside. It was absolute. The world itself was understood as part of divine order, created by God, watched over by him, and one day brought before him. Every action carried weight, every sin mattered, and every life was leading somewhere beyond its end. Death was never far away. There was plague, famine, war. These weren't rare events in that time period. They were part of the rhythm of everyday life. What mattered was what came next. Heaven and hell weren't ideas, they were final destinations. They were real, final and eternal, and between them stood judgment. The church guided people towards one and warned them of the other. It taught them how to live, how to repent, how to prepare, not just for their death, but for what followed it. And those teachings weren't hidden away in books. Most people back then couldn't read, so instead they were shown, carved into stone, painted onto walls, set in glass high above their heads. Everywhere they looked, the message was there. What awaited the faithful and what awaited the damned. In that world, faith and reality weren't really separate things. They were the same. One shaped the other completely. So the message was placed directly in your path, not quietly, but deliberately, so that every time you stepped into a church or an abbey, you were confronted with it. Not just how to live, but how you would be judged. It was immediate, personal, and inescapable, a threshold not just into a place of worship, but into the certainty of their own end. And yet, what we see today is only a fragment. The rest is gone, broken, lost, or taken apart over centuries of rebuilding. As the great church above it changed, grew, and was remade, the doomed stone itself was removed from its original place, no longer set above the living, no longer marking the threshold it once guarded. The living no longer walk under its gaze. Instead, it was set aside, and in time it was preserved. It now rests beneath York Minster, as if a foreboding message should be kept away, hidden in the dark, a warning of purity now shunned. And yet, its message has never really faded, because the judgment that it depicts was never meant for the gaze of the intrigued, curious footfall. It was meant for those who stood beneath it. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support the Black Banner, leave me a thumbs, like, subscribe and share. And if you've got any opportunities that want to work with me on any historical location, or you've got any ideas for medieval videos that would be beneficial to the channel and the subscribers, please let me know in that box below.